EPS are side effects of medications like antipsychotics and metoclopramide. In this mnemonic video, we'll cover important facts about EPS so you'll be ready come testing. Stop right there! The police are pulling over this EPS delivery truck for a suspected burglary. You know how burglars often go undercover as delivery guys? By the way, use the EPS delivery service as your anchor for EPS, which is short for extrapyramidal symptoms. EPS refers to a combination of neurologic symptoms that occur as a side effect of taking certain medications. Let's start off by talking about what drugs cause EPS. In order to get into the back of the delivery truck, the police had to open the door using this metal clip. This metal clip is our symbol for the drug metoclopramide. You know, metal clip for metoclopramide or metoclopramide, right? Metoclopramide is a medication used to treat gastroesophageal reflux and gastroparesis. However, the use of metoclopramide is associated with the rare side effect of causing extrapyramidal symptoms, especially the finding of tardive dyskinesia. Don't worry, we'll cover tardive dyskinesia and the specific symptoms that make up EPS in a second. But before that, let's cover the other major culprits that cause EPS. Aha! The police found what they were looking for, the famous scream painting that was stolen from an art museum. By the way the man in the picture is holding his head while reality swirls around him reminds me of psychosis, when people lose their sense of reality. So this scream painting here can help you remember that drugs that treat psychosis, the antipsychotics, are another major cause of EPS. While we'll cover that in our dedicated scenes on the antipsychotics, it's worth noting that the first generation or typical antipsychotic drugs are more likely to cause EPS than the second generation or atypical antipsychotics. Now that we know what medications cause EPS, let's dive into the specific symptoms of EPS. The scream painting was found in a package labeled distance, for long-distance shipping. The word distance here should remind you of dystonia, one of the classic extrapyramidal symptoms. To learn what dystonia actually means, look inside at the way the burglar has contorted his body to try and fit into the box. After being crunched in that box, you can only imagine how stiff his neck and body are going to be. Let this remind you that dystonia describes involuntary muscle contractions, especially of the face, neck, and trunk. This often leads to patients with stiff, contorted muscles, as you see here. This young police officer here is still in the police academy. You can tell by the academy printed on his uniform. By the way, the word academy here should remind you of the term akathisia. As a young, inexperienced police officer, this academy cadet is extremely nervous about his first big heist. That's why he's restlessly playing with a fidget toy behind his back. The nervous fidgeting with the fidget toy should remind you that akathisia is characterized by fidgeting and restlessness. Next, the police officers happened to pull over this EPS truck as it was driving through a national park. The park ranger brought out his rattling walker to see what all the fuss is about. If you've seen our other videos, you might know that a park ranger is our symbol for Parkinsonism, especially since the rattling walker represents the slow and unsteady gait that these patients can often experience. Therefore, you can use this to help you remember another symptom of EPS called pseudo-Parkinsonism. This is called pseudo-Parkinsonism because it presents with symptoms that look just like those of Parkinson's disease, but is not caused by Parkinson's disease itself. It is instead caused by a side effect of taking the medications we talked about earlier. But the symptoms are the same: slow movements, a shuffling gait, and tremors, just like those exhibited by our park ranger here. Alright, one more symptom of EPS to talk about. The police officers opened several EPS packages before finding the painting and robber. One of the packages was full of tarts, and the park ranger is licking his lips because they look so appetizing. By the way, you can use these tarts to remember the side effect called tardive dyskinesia, since tarts sounds like tardive dyskinesia, right? And just like the park ranger is licking his lips because of the tarts, tardive dyskinesia is characterized by repetitive motions of the mouth, tongue, and face. Most commonly, patients will exhibit lip smacking and tongue rolling. Now that we know the different manifestations of EPS, let's talk about how EPS is treated. The chief police officer is that woman there at the head of the EPS truck. That's right, the one holding that big public safety trophy awarded for many years of meritorious service. Unfortunately, the EPS truck didn't stop in time and hit her trophy, causing a bend to form in the trophy. Let this bent trophy stopping the EPS truck remind you that benztropine can be used to stop extrapyramidal symptoms. And in case you need a refresher on the drug benztropine, just take a look at that broken, empty cola bottle that the chief dropped as she stopped the truck. That's right, here at Pixorize, we use a cola bottle to symbolize acetylcholine, or acetyl cola as we like to call it. And since the cola bottle is broken and empty, you can be sure that benztropine is an anticholinergic. In other words, it works to lower levels of acetylcholine. Get it? Benztropine and other anticholinergic medications may be used to treat EPS. Other ways of remedying EPS include stopping the offending medication or simply lowering the dose. Alright, that's all for this mnemonic on EPS. Let's review what we've learned. Extrapyramidal symptoms, abbreviated EPS, are a group of neurologic symptoms classically caused by drugs like metoclopramide and antipsychotic medications. The symptoms that make up EPS include involuntary muscle contractions called dystonia, restlessness and fidgeting called akathisia, shuffling gait, slow movements, and tremors called pseudoparkinsonism, as well as repetitive lip smacking and tongue rolling called tardive dyskinesia. Extrapyramidal symptoms can be treated with anticholinergic agents like benztropine. They will also go away by lowering the dose or stopping the offending medication altogether. And now we're actually done with EPS.